Here's this week's Hair Tip Tuesday.
Hey, it's Ari with another Hair Tip Tuesday. And if you can tell, we have been rebranding. So as you see my mat here, it is now Hair Architect Academy and Natural Hair Studio as I grow and prepare to actually move into my own retail salon space. So enough about me, I'm here to give you some hair tips. And today, we're going to address mental health as it pertains to our hair care. So I am not a therapist, I am not a licensed psychologist. I am just a stylist who deals with her own mental health, which we all do in some form or fashion. And we have to identify how our mental health impacts how we care for our hair, or exactly like what it is that we do that impacts the growth of our hair, the thickness of our hair, and all of those things. So what I have noticed with myself and with some clients is that when we are dealing or battling with something in our mind and our hearts, we tend to find something that allows us to cope. Whether it's cutting, whether it's drinking, whether it's smoking, or doing some type of illegal substance. But when it comes to our hair, when we become anxious, we tend to do things impulsively. So you may find yourself depressed and you just want to cut your hair. And anytime you find yourself depressed, you cut your hair. And we're not talking, a little trim or something. We're talking in, Jada Pinkett style, just cut it all off, and set it off. Those types of things. If we're not cutting it, we're coloring it impulsively, because anytime we change our hair, a woman's about to change her life, is the saying, right? So with that case, we tend to do things impulsively without considering the consequence that it has to our hair. With a cut straight, when you cut your hair all off, you have the opportunity to allow it to grow. So that's one thing. When you are just arbitrarily coloring your hair, and we're not talking like a little rinse or, a little semi-permanent action, we're talking about, I'm about to lift my hair and color it to a different color. When we get to that point, and we haven't even considered the health of our hair as it stands, you might be doing more harm than good. And not that you want to hear that in your state of depression or anxiety or, bipolarism, whatever the case may be, you still want to address what's going on mentally or emotionally with you, and then it will begin to grow and go to the outside of your body, where you start taking not care of just you inside, but you're taking care of you outside as well, because it starts within. It starts with your mental health. Then you may notice that you may be stressing about a lot of different things. Stress causes hair loss. Stress is a cause of hair loss, let's put it that way. So if you're stressing a lot, you may notice some thinning in your hair. You may notice, just hair falling out in clumps. Manage your stress. Pay attention to what's causing the stress and how you are addressing that stress. Another thing that I've noticed, especially with clients, is not only just, stressing, because that's common amongst anyone, is to stress about something. There may be some nervous tics that you may do. So you might do one of these numbers where you're twirling your hair. Yeah, enough of that, especially if you're natural, can be a proponent of causing single strand knots. We don't like those. That can lead to, you're tangling your hair, you're manipulating your hair, so it's causing it to pull unnecessarily. There's a client of mine who used to, I hope she still doesn't do this now, don't beat me later, but when she was stressed, she would take a finger, and then her favorite spot was right here in the back of her neck, and she would just rub. And she wouldn't just, be as dramatic as I am, parting it like this and rub. She would just, subconsciously just start rubbing and do one of these numbers. It was a comfort mechanism, a coping mechanism. But what would happen is that this area that she was rubbing excessively would start to thin and it would break off the hair in that area. So you want to be mindful of the coping mechanisms that you have when you are stressed or you're going through something mentally or you're having a mental health issue that's taking place. It does impact your hair. It definitely has an impact on the growth of your hair, the fullness of your hair, the length of your hair, the overall health of your hair. It is attached to you. So if it's attached to your body, whatever you're experiencing on the inside is going to be reflected on the outside, whether it's through your skin, in your eyes, in your hair. It is all affected. It's all tied together. So with that said, that is Ari with another Hair Tip Tuesday. And when we're talking mental health, it is absolutely important to not just deal with it on your own. Definitely seek professional help. Therapy is not taboo. It's definitely not taboo anymore. So seek a licensed professional, get some help in coping through whatever it is that you're dealing with so that you can get back to loving and nurturing your crown. So it's again Ari with another Hair Tip Tuesday.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.